you, everyone. I'm Amy Goodwin. I'm the Director of Project 12 Architecture, and this morning I'm going to be presenting Cowes Primary School. So the project's located in Phillip Island, approximately 200 kilometres from Melbourne, in the township of Cowes, and this is the primary school sited here in quite close proximity to the bay. Cowes is the largest state school on the island with just over 500 students, and our client for this project was the Victorian School Building Authority. And the school were awarded $5.5 million in the state 2018 state budget for the provision of a new competition grade gymnasium. And this provided a really amazing opportunity for the school, but also the broader community. Principal Rod McKenzie, who's jumping for joy here on the left, he was a really huge influence and advocate for the project and really understood the need for this type of facility on the island. The school had outgrown their existing gym and had no space which could accommodate the whole school at one time, and the local YMCA was the only other public court on the island, and it was worn and dated. And Rod was clear from the start that the end result had to benefit both the school and the community on the island. And so key to the success of this project was reviewing the siting. So the school was located on a quite unique site and had a lot of assets that many other state schools would be very envious of, including a pool and this area of native bushland, which this school called Community Sanctuary. This was rarely used by the school, and through the project we wanted to explore ways to improve this. So in the early master plan stages, in close consultation with the VSBA, the school and the broader community, it was determined that the best place to locate the gym was to the northern edge of the sanctuary and sort of mediate and sit between the pool and the landscape. So this importantly provided a logical location for a number of reasons. So for community use, so we could utilise an existing gravel car park and provide a separate means of access from the main school campus, and to not disrupt school when used by the community. We also looked to establish pathways back to the campus, to the new facility, and purposely establish and kind of provide meaningful pathways through the sanctuary, which was previously underutilised. Also provided a logical siting to provide a sporting hub on the campus, so with close proximity to the pool, the hard courts and the oval. And so this pool is also used by the community for swimming lessons in the school holidays, etc. It's actually the only swimming pool, strangely, on Phillip Island. And then importantly, it was also to provide a meaningful connection back out to that landscape, creating views and opportunities for external teaching areas within that space. And so the quite prescriptive brief and the limited budget sort of determined a quite rational plan. Community entrance, foyer, kitchen and change facilities are located in this single-storey volume to the north. The court and bleacher seating look out to the landscape to the south. This is the main day-to-day access for the school, kind of connecting back with accessible pathways to their main campus. Sports sheds kind of help serve both the hard courts and the gym, and then a music floor and a raised floor, so a music room on a raised floor provides opportunity for performances, assemblies, and then opens out onto this amphitheatre and external teaching space, which is nestled into the edge of the landscape. So an important consideration was how to place a relatively large building in close proximity to this landscape. We worked really closely with the landscape architect Simon Ellis to figure out how we could touch the landscape as lightly as possible. A gravel path is established around the perimeter of the building and provides this permeable trail, and then a narrow garden bed is kind of inserted between the path and the landscape, and the garden bed is populated with plants that are already found within, native plants which are already found within the sanctuary, and lined with weed matting to prevent invasive species. And then as you kind of walk back into the sanctuary, we linked this little path back to the already established path within the sanctuary, and moving back in to the landscape, the building starts to dissolve and recede. So the external materials had to be robust and utilitarian, but we wanted them to also be relatively recessive, so it could blend into the setting as much as possible, and utilised existing clearings within the landscape to insert those external teaching spaces and provide opportunity to kind of re-establish the landscape around those areas. And then the building is grounded by this black band which runs around the base. It's comprised of pre-finished cement sheet and mild steel fascia that hides the surfaces and gutters above. Lighter materials are used above with a zinc-aluminum custom or cladding and damp-on panels, quite light and reflective. And then the damp-on kind of acting as a beacon and a lantern, and allowing the building to glow. And it's particularly useful when the facility is used at night by the wider community. Internally, that banding is continued with this use of the black ply to the base of the building, the creation of physical and visual connections back out to the adjoining elements in the site was always considered, so this access back out to the pool with change rooms that can be used by both the gym and the pool, and replace the worn facilities within the pool. And then, thank you. And then again, these framing of views back out to the landscape, damp-on cladding providing diffuse light throughout the day, robust materials offset by warm tones of the natural timber to the ply and the sports floor. And I guess ultimately this project we were looking, I think, is look to provide response to the stated brief of the competition grade gymnasium, but also look to uplift and provide a way for the school to re-engage with their existing facilities, including the pool and the community sanctuary. And ultimately, it's now a place where the whole school community can gather, and a space which is actively used by the broader community on the island as well. Thank you.